Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 251. And if you are listening on the day of release, it is Friday, the 20th of June. And I am heading down or down and across probably, to Bath in Somerset to see Pete for our Unique Results Walking Weekend 2025. And we are joining forces with Mr. Peter Lant and Walk Bath and Walking Solves for a weekend on Solvitur Ambulando, as displayed on his t-shirt, for a week. And I've actually got my Unique Results hoodie. Look at that, purple.
Look at that.
It's fully branded up.
Purple, same Paddy Haynes.
Paddy Haynes colour, yeah.
Yeah.
So we are there for the weekend this weekend with a lovely walk on the Friday and the Saturday. So yeah, Friday the 20th of June. So how are you doing, Pete? You okay?
I'm very well. I'll apologise if you can hear anything. It's actually quiet at the minute, but I'm just watching. They're taking some scaffolding down outside my house, and as we were talking before it even started, they dropped a big bucket of those things that hold the scaffolding together, and it made a racket, and you couldn't hear it.
I couldn't hear it, so I think your mic is obviously tuned in to pick up you, and I can't hear any background noise whatsoever. So
it's a bloody good mic. Obviously, also I've been looking at my weather app because I haven't taken Sid for a walk yet because it's chucking it down. And my weather app says it's going to be sunny in about 20 minutes, but it's really hammering it down out there now. So I feel really sorry for these guys as well because they're all crawling all over scaffolding and everything, and the absolute it's torrential.
Well, I'm sure by the time we'll probably be finished recording in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and hopefully it will be bright and sunny then, and you can take Sid out for a walk.
We shall see.
Which will be good. So we are the two of us this week after 4 weeks of guests. Just to recap who we've had on recently. Last week, episode 250 was Dan John for his 11th appearance on the Health Oddity podcast. The week before that, 249, was Dr. Nancy Allen, who we will definitely be speaking to again. The week before that was episode 248, Sally Moss from Strength Ambassadors in London. And the week before that, episode 247 with Vicky Farrington, who had moved from London up to the Lakes from the police and now is a personal trainer, strength coach, sports therapist up in Kendal in the Lake District. So yeah, we've had some great guests on the last 4 weeks. And I will just say, weekend just gone as we record, I had Terry Hollands at Unique, was a former guest and friend of the show. Terry Hollands was at Unique Results doing a workshop on Sunday, which went really, really well. And we raised some money for the running of Britain's Disabled Strongman in September that Health Oddity is sponsoring, and Pete and I and Alex Nicole Bennett will be there helping out. And let's just have a look. I just want to give you the dates. It's the 13th and 14th of September at Brunel University. And I will just say at the start now, if anyone is fairly local to that and is interested in strongman, strength training, that kind of thing, and wants to come and help on the crew for the weekend, to help moving the weights around, setting up the events and just assisting at the event, let us know. Ping us a message, because we're looking for a few extra pairs of hands to help on that weekend. So yeah, if you're interested in that, give us a shout. That'd be good. But no, Terry's workshop at the weekend was absolutely brilliant. He was so what would you say, generous with his time, because he didn't get any money for the workshop. Like I say, all the money we raised was going to the Britain's Disabled Strongman, and he was there. It was meant to be 10 till 2. He was still going at like 2:30, and then at the end, once everyone had left, he hung around and was chatting for another hour or so. He was such a nice guy, really, really relaxed, really great guy. So massive thank you to Terry Hollands and to everyone who came along. But no, it was really, really good. Yeah, great weekend.
Nice way for him to spend his honeymoon, eh?
Yeah, yeah. And I think he's going to be he's definitely obviously going to be at the Giants Live. Oh, did you see? I don't know if we should give it away, but I think we did. Ray O'Neill is going to be at the Royal Albert Hall.
Don't tell Sean. She doesn't want to know until Christmas.
Yeah, Steph doesn't want to know till Christmas either.
Yeah,
So.
but she's going. We're going to the.
Yeah, so Steph's going to be there as well.
Well,
But
so therefore they're not going to be.
I said before they bring them all out, because they'll definitely say, and the reigning world's strongest man from South Africa, But I said I'll have to sort of say, oh, do you want to go and get some merch, or do you want to go and get a drink or something before he comes?
I'll just have to tell Sean to
cover your ears.
She's got some noise cancelling headphones. She can wear those and just walk.
Yeah, so but I think Terry's also going to be at the UK Strongest Man in Nottingham, which I'll be at with Bella. He's going to be there with one of the companies that he kind of is sponsored by and works with. So I'll see him in a couple of weeks, and then and then he'll obviously be at the Royal Albert Hall as well, which will be great. Right, so I mean, the last 4 guests we've had have been really, really good. I mean, I've really, Dan John, always it's good to catch up with Dan, and he was on great form, wasn't he? But Nancy Allen, Dr. Nancy Allen, I thought was great, and definitely someone that we'll get on and speak to again. And I think on the back of Nancy's episode, you took her up on some of her advice, didn't you? And
did.
Yeah, do you want to tell us about that? For those who are not watching, and if you're listening, Peter's just stuck his middle finger up. It wasn't the middle finger. Oh no, it was the middle finger.
It is my middle finger. That was like I got a size, and that was the finger it fitted on. So
you're not meant to have to. You don't have to put it on a certain finger, do you?
No. You're meant to put it on your index. Who wears a ring on their index finger? But you're meant to wear that. Like, it doesn't really matter, as far as I know. This is my second one, actually. I had another one and I sent it back because it wasn't working.
Since the episode? So in the last.
Yeah. I ordered one straight after the episode. It was like on Amazon, and it came along and I used it for a week, but it didn't keep the data. So I'd look at my sleep data and it just had the data for last night, and then all the data for the week before it didn't have. So I was like, well, what's the point in that? So I sent it back.
Does it kind of upload it just for people who didn't listen to the episode? But hopefully most of you did. But yeah, what is it you've purchased and what does it do?
Well, I don't know what it is. It's just a generic ring. It was like 35 quid. But they're all very similar. And then when you get it, you get an app. So you can get the Aura rings and stuff like that, which are like 350 quid and all of that, and the Samsung ones and all of this. But it's this one, literally, you get like a health app on your phone, which you can measure your heart rate, your
steps, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, you can measure your heart rate, your steps, your SpO2, and this one measures your blood pressure, apparently. I don't know how, but it does, allegedly. But the one I had previously measured your stress, and it measured your heart rate variability as well.
Yeah, HRV, yeah.
But this one doesn't. This one literally measures sleep, heart rate, blood pressure, and SpO2. So, what's that called? Blood oxygen, right? But it does it every hour. It just measures it every hour. So I was basically what it's telling me. So the reason why I did it, I've always said, like, I'm not bothered about wearable tech. Because, like, I know that I eat healthily, that I sleep well, that my heart rate's all right. I pretty much know all of that just from what I do. But from what Nancy said was, well, she said, yeah, but if something does go wrong, you'll have the data to know when it started going wrong. You'll be able to see it. And I was like, I never really even thought about it like that. And also, I don't wear rings and watches, and I just don't, because I end up knacking them. I bang them. You know what I mean? But a ring's dead easy because you can just take it off. So, but I also didn't know how accurate they were or anything. So I've been using it, and it's actually quite accurate as far as I can tell.
Kind of, because I think with those Aura rings and stuff, you then have to pay like a monthly subscription model, don't you, and stuff like that.
On this.
So it's just like 35 quid, and you get the app, and you don't have to pay for it or anything like that.
No. This is it's literally you get the ring, get the app, and then you're there. And then you can measure everything. So my resting heart rate is less than 60. So I'm happy with that. Means I'm an athlete, apparently. I'm not so sure about that. But, just generally, like, throughout the day, like currently right now, obviously I'm not resting. I'm just sitting talking to you on this and everything. And it's at like 74, which is pretty good. So, I'm not resting. I'm actually moving and doing stuff and talking, and I've just eaten as well.
Yeah, that bumps it up. Yeah, yeah.
So it's at that. But blood pressure, let's end that. Blood pressure wise, I'm normal, and it takes it throughout the day. So yeah, it's just quite good to know where you're at. And like I say, you can see how it fluctuates. So at weekends, my heart rate's higher. My heart rate was higher during last night when I was asleep than it was the night before. But we did a walk yesterday evening, and I didn't eat my dinner till 9 o'clock, and then went to bed at like 10:30. So that was possibly why, right? But then also it measures your sleep.
Also, I think like obviously things like caffeine and alcohol put it up as well, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like over the weekend it was higher. We'd been away for the weekend. We had a couple of beers and stuff like that. So possibly why. Not loads higher, it just was noticeably higher. And then it measures your sleep as well. So I had 8 hours, 15 minutes last night, 2 hours, 12 minutes deep sleep, 1 hour, 8 minutes REM. So all of you can see that like REM is the deep sleep's restorative, and then REM is like this something for brain function, is it? I don't know the ins and outs of it all. I just know that after looking at it, something like 25% of your sleep is deep sleep, and then whatever it is, whatever percentage it was is REM, you're doing all right. So the funny thing is I'm knackered at the minute as well. I was just saying before we started recording, I'm like, I've been measuring all this and it's all good, and I'm still tired. So
yeah, but that's because you're doing a lot, aren't you, at the moment? Are you
exactly.
Yeah.
But imagine if I was as busy as I am right now and all of that wasn't all right, how tired I'd be. This is the thing. So it's just I'm fascinated by it now. after being like, yeah, I don't use any of that sort of crap and all that. Now I'm like, I'm kind of obsessed with it. But
I thought what was really good about the Dr. Nancy Allen episode, I think we said at the time, was just how like she said the NHS is not good at preventative medicine. It is basically medicating you when things go wrong. It's just giving you tablets, or operating in a case of emergency or whatever. But I loved how proactive she was, and how kind of, she wasn't anti-medicine obviously, but she was anti the use of medicine when the issue could be solved through lifestyle modification, and unnecessary giving of tablets just for the sake of it. I thought she was great. I thought she was really, really, really interesting, really easy to get on with. Like you say, and when we had her on the podcast, we said we'll definitely get you back on again, because she was great, wasn't she?
Yeah. No, I thought it was quite refreshing to hear that, because it's like, you get I mean, I look at it as taking personal responsibility. Because again, using this thing, looking it up, there was like the other ring told me I wasn't getting enough REM sleep. It didn't say that, but like I looked at it and it said I wasn't, and this one says something different. So it's like, okay, which is it? But I looked up, well, how do you improve that? Right? How do you improve your REM sleep? Does anyone know? You know what I mean? So I just quick Google search, and it's like, don't drink caffeine after a certain time, limit your alcohol consumption, eat whole foods, just basically diet and lifestyle. That's it's it all comes down to that thing. It's like you can look up pretty much anything. Like, how do you lower your blood pressure? How do you lower your resting heart rate if it's too high, or if even if it's not too high, if you just want it to be a bit lower? And because like your resting heart rate's got a big carry forward into longevity and all that sort of stuff, hasn't it? So it's like, how do you do all that? You get some exercise, you get out and about in nature, you eat well, and you drink less, and you limit your caffeine. Don't drink like coffee after midday or whatever, because you won't get any, like your sleep will be worse.
It'll even be like, how do you reduce, anxiety, stress, depression, all those things will be linked to the same stuff. And it's like she said, wasn't it? We took a bit of a deep dive into kind of dementia, didn't we? All those kind of lifestyle factors that she discussed are just, again, we're episode 251 now, aren't we? And I think probably in 251 episodes, the message has kind of been the same, hasn't it? Nothing changes really.
But here's the thing, and so it should be, right? Unless something does change, obviously. I mean, things can, right? But how how much can change from just diet and lifestyle? Like, I mean, obviously there's nuances to it, and people have got different allergies and what have you, and all sorts of stuff, right? But how much can actually change in that? That people actually would be interested in learning. Do you know what I mean? Like some people really geek out on it and want to learn and everything like that, but most people are just like, I just want to know what to do, and it's like, well, just eat better and sleep better and all of that. But then, like we've said before, we said it with Dan last week, didn't we? It's like, but if you make it that simple, people think it should be more complicated, so they want to complicate it, so then they can't do it.
It's funny. It's the same. I think Dan's mentioned it before, where I had a lady in with me last week, and I've known her for years, and she's just read, I think, a book by Dr. Michael Mosley, and it was like I said that Dr. Nancy Allen said,
Yeah,
"Oh, 20 years ago, I went on a course with Michael Mosley, and there was like all GPs were there, and he was talking about this kind of stuff 20 years ago. And it's really interesting because the fact that we have all these different people on, and they're all kind of saying similar or the same stuff, but in a slightly different way and from a
yeah,
slightly different perspective and with slightly different experience and from a different place in the world and all the rest of it. Um, because this lady I spoke to last week was reading this Dr. Michael Mosley book and said, "Oh," she goes, "I've really understood for the first time ever about like what about trying to burn fat and sugar and what it does in your body and how the." And I think we've talked about this loads of times,
I know, I
but
know.
but it's just you have to have the right message at the right time delivered in the right way by the
Yep,
right voice at the right when you're ready to receive it. And then when you're ready to receive it, it's like that saying, isn't it? Like when the student is ready, the master will appear, or
absolutely.
whatever. Or I heard something. I think it was on that podcast I've just recommended to you, where it sort of says, when the student is ready, the book will appear. You can read a
Yeah,
book and not really get anything from it, and read it 5 years later when you're in a different, you can never step in a river at the same place twice. You're in a different place, you read the book again, and suddenly it's like it all makes sense. It's which is
I
great,
love
isn't
that
it?
quote. That's the what's it? It's from the Book of Five Rings, isn't it? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's Heraclitus. Um, yeah, no man or woman can ever step in the same river twice.
Yeah,
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 I love that
yeah.
because we use that on with walking all the time. I'm like, you never do the same walk twice.
Mm.
Because in the beginning, when we only had a few walks, people were like, are there any more routes? And I'm like, I'm finding them. Don't worry, there'll be more. And I'm like, it's like, oh, well, because we've done this one before. And it's like, and we'll do it again. But it'll look
Yeah,
different in the
yeah, yeah.
summer. It'll look different in the spring. It'll be with different people. You'll be feeling different that day. You'll be a different person because, and it's like,
Mm.
it's just one of those things. It's great. And like some people turn up tired one week and then they'll be buzzing the next week, So it's like it's never the same.
Mm.
You'll do the same route, but it's not the same walk.
Yes,
So we say
yeah.
that all the time. I love that because it just is what it is. And I mean, what is it? It's something like over 7 years. Like Nancy mentioned this, didn't there? Every cell in your body is regenerated in some way. So you actually
Mm.
are literally a completely different person.
Completely different organism. Yeah, yeah. No, it's great. No, it's really, really, really interesting. I've just started watching. I've just pinged literally just before coming on this podcast. Because I had contact with Jan Todd, didn't I? I made contact with Jan Todd, and I sent her an email and she hasn't got back to me. So just sent her another message and resent the email. So I'm trying to get to arrange this conversation with Jan Todd, but the reason being, I've just rewatched the Stoneland documentary yesterday. Um, the Rogue one on. So just go to. We spoke about this many times. We'll go to YouTube, type in Stoneland. It's a Rogue documentary. It's like 45 minutes long about stone lifting in Scotland. And then I've just started watching the Stones documentary from Maximum Iron that we're kind of the one of the backers for Stones 2, which I'm just holding up the thing there. Stones
Yep.
2, which is all in
Hey.
Ireland, which is all going to be in Ireland. And that's different because I've watched it before, but watching it now, I think I'm going to try and get Andy Crawford on the podcast. So I've got quite into the sandbag training again recently, and I just listened to a Mark Bell's Power Project from last week, all about sandbag training again, and it's just so different. It's like you say, you go back to something, and Terry at the weekend, Terry Hollands was giving advice and coaching on the sandbags, and I didn't actually physically have a go, but some of the people were having a go, and I went to pick up. I'd never lapped and carried the 100 kilo sandbag that we've got at the gym before. It's just really awkward to get hold of and get it over your knees, and then you have to. And then on the Monday, I did it, and then I've done it a few times this week. So, but I've been watching Andy Crawford, who's in the Stones documentary, lifting and shouldering like 170 kilo sandbags, and it's just incredible. But
Yeah,
so you go back. So similar to reading a book or watching anything. You go back and watch these things again, and you get something different from it. I think each time.
totally.
You know.
I think about stuff like that when I'm carrying the dog bed from the car to an Airbnb or something when we're away, and we did it last weekend because it's soft. It's not heavy, but you pick it up, you wedge it here, and then you've got a bag on and something else because you've got to carry everything from the car to the Airbnb, and you try and do it in one trip, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Right. But the dog bed moves. As you walk in, it starts to slip, and everything else stays where it is, but it starts to slip and slide and stuff like that. And that's not even heavy. So when it's a sandbag, as soon as you get your hands around it and like stand up, it moves, doesn't it? And
and you can't get a hold of it, so you're literally just cupping your hands around it and squeezing it to lift it. It's got no handles on it or anything like that. So it's and obviously I've been watching it as well because it's really been making me look forward to going to Scotland in August.
Yeah,
because you're going to the Highland Games the day before, aren't you, as well?
As far as I know, we haven't sorted it out yet. We're there.
It's like a Boyne, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, we haven't booked it or done anything about it yet. But yeah, we are there, and we'll hopefully.
I don't know if you can just turn up or if you have to have a ticket.
I don't know.
I wouldn't imagine.
We'll see. We'll find out, won't we?
Pay on the day or something.
We'll look it up. But the week before that, we're going to be. Hopefully, I haven't got in touch with Vicky yet, but I will. So Vicky, who was on.
Oh, you'll be in the lakes.
Yeah, because we're going up via the lakes. So we'll be there on the Monday. So we're going to do Halls Fell on Blencathra. So I need to send her I've just reminded myself I'll send her a message and tell her that's the day we're going to do it. So she can do that. That'll be cool as well. That'd be nice. So we're basically going on holiday and meeting up with you lot.
Yeah, well, I'm flying up on the Saturday evening. Like I think I'm getting to Aberdeen about 9:30. But Edith, friend of the show, obviously Scottish, said at that time of year, like June, it will be light up there till about 11 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah. It's the same in Newcastle. I mean, I grew up in Newcastle, and it's lighter late. I noticed when I first moved down here, I was like, it gets dark early, doesn't it? But then again, you go up there in winter, and it's like in Newcastle, it gets dark at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. But I think Aberdeen, I mean, again, my geography, as we all know, is terrible.
It's up there. Yeah.
Aberdeen's high up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Far up. So that's like kind of, so I think she said literally like 11 p.m. that will still be.
Yeah.
So
Scotland's bigger than you think.
Yeah.
People get there, they go to Edinburgh and they're like, God, hey, that's like it's a good what is it? Edinburgh's like 115 miles from Newcastle or something. So it's probably 70 miles into Scotland or whatever. And they're like, God, that's a way, isn't it? It's like it goes on way further than that.
Yeah, but no, that'd be brilliant. So watching like Stoneland and Stones really makes me think, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to because there's loads of stuff about the Potarch sort of bridge and the Potarch River, and obviously where the Dinny Stones are, and then where that's basically just going to be where the Donald Dinny Day is going to be. It's going to, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Yeah. Fantastic.
It's going to be lush. Can't wait.
And are you you'll have kettlebell up there with you, I presume?
Yeah, whatever I'm using at the time, Paul will tell me.
Yeah.
It's I'm tired at the minute.
Are you still are you training like full on at the moment still?
Everything the same, yeah. So tomorrow I've got to do 5 sets of 10 pistols each leg with 24 kilos.
Oh, 5 sets of 10.
Yeah. So 100 pistols of 24 kilos, which isn't heavy for me.
Yeah, but that's on each leg, yeah?
But it's still horrible, yeah. So 50 on each leg.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just can't be bothered. But I've got. That's probably why I'm tired, to be honest. I'm sleeping well though, So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Oh dear. No, so yeah, no. So going back over the last few weeks, I mean, I thought Sally Moss was excellent. She was
Yeah.
really interesting. The strength ambassadors, um, just her kind of take on or view of strength, and strength training, and not having it tied to any kind of aesthetics at all or aesthetic goal, just training strength for the benefit of being strong and stronger and potentially competing in strength sports. I thought was really, really interesting, and like I think we said afterwards, she knows what she thinks, she knows what she wants, she knows how she wants the business to run, she knows what her beliefs are and her values are, and she's just kind of very, very strong in that, isn't she? And very kind of set on that, which I think was great.
But that's how to set up. I mean, you know this, right? That's how to
Mm.
set up business, isn't it? You do it. You do what you want to do, not what you think everyone else wants,
Mm.
because you end up pleasing no one. Whereas if you just do what you want to do, some other people will want that as well. Somebody will,
Mm.
So not everybody. There's lots of people out there who will say you need to do nutrition first.
Mm.
That needs to be like the linchpin or the keystone or whatever, and then everything else comes around that. But she doesn't. She doesn't think that, and that's not necessarily true. And that for some people it is because they've got a big problem with that. But for other people, they just need to get stronger first, and
Mm.
then everything else will come as a result of that. And then because you'll have experienced that, and I've done it for myself.
Mm.
You change the way you eat based around what you're doing.
Mm.
I mean, you might have changed the way you eat based around your the training for strongman instead of just
Oh
training.
yeah, I eat
People.
I eat far more now, and I eat far
Yeah,
more kind of carbs and stuff, and starches and rice, and I just had a huge bowl of like pasta, meatballs, kind of vegetables and sauce, and mini sweet corn and cheese on top. Huge amount of
yeah.
kind of stuff, which is which
So
I
that
need.
that's another thing that's interesting, right? I mean, we weren't talking about nutrition because we were saying Sally doesn't really
Mm,
go
mm,
for. I mean,
mm.
she eats well and all that sort of stuff, but she doesn't.
She doesn't sort of doesn't deal with that with her members.
It doesn't coach people in
Yeah,
that. But you just
yeah.
mentioned something there like pasta.
Mm,
Dan John mentioned it last week,
mm,
and it's like you buy stuff and it's got loads of ingredients in, right? But I had pasta last night and I never feel bloated off pasta because I make it myself. It's
mm,
eggs and flour, and it takes like 2 minutes to make the dough. You chuck it all in,
mm,
mix it up, make the dough. It doesn't need to prove or anything. You just wrap it in
mm,
cling film and leave it, and then
mm,
roll it out later on, which takes
mm.
about 5 minutes when you're good at it. It takes longer than that at the start, but and then so I do that, and then I go out and do the walk on a Wednesday evening. I get back, I've cooked some chicken breast or something. I'll chuck the pasta on, make a pesto, chuck that in,
Mm,
slice of pepper up or something, mix it all up,
mm,
and I've got a huge bowl of pasta and chicken,
mm,
and it's just good. It's good stuff, and
mm.
it's like literally just flour and eggs.
And I know when you do your pizzas, you make the dough and everything, don't you
Yeah,
yourself? Yeah,
sourdough. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So do that, and again, that's like there's no apart from. I mean, obviously the flour's processed, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you've got a grain in, people are like, yeah, but I've got a grain, I'm gluten free and I've got a grain intolerance. And it's like, well, don't do it then. But if you haven't, it's fine, you
Mm,
know. And like it's like again, that's the pizza dough is 3 ingredients.
mm.
It's literally flour, water, and a little bit. I use onion salt
Okay.
because it makes it taste nicer. But like, yeah, that's literally it: flour, water,
Mm,
and onion salt, and that
mm.
is it. There's no more ingredients in it. And then obviously what goes on the top. But it's so that's the thing when kind of people demonize food, isn't it? This is good for you, this is bad for you, and all that sort of
Mm,
stuff. It's like it probably is if you're buying it in a box
mm.
and it's got all this stuff in it, and then you're like, I can't eat pizzas because I'm allergic to them. It's like you're probably allergic to something that's
Yeah,
in
like a
in
shop
the
bought
thing.
one or a takeaway or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
never know what's in it, do you?
Mm,
So I think of all that stuff as is quite funny because people like they get bloated and what have you, and some people genuinely do, but other like a lot of it'll be intolerances, ingredients that are actually in bold on the thing,
mm.
ingredients list, which is as
Mm.
long as your arm, and the bold one, and then you're like, who was it? Who
It was
else?
Dan, it was Dan, wasn't it, last week, was talking about and as well like sort of gut microbiome and that kind of
Yeah,
thing, wasn't he, as well, you know?
I
So
think it was Paul Salad. Is it Paul Saladino or whatever he's
yeah,
called?
yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot of extreme things and what have you, hasn't he? But he was
Mm.
saying, like, basically, if you show an ingredient to your grandma and she doesn't know what it is, it's probably not that great. If you show a list of ingredients, like, it's got like all these E numbers and things in bold,
Yeah.
if she doesn't know what it is, then
Mm.
it's probably going to be a bit like not food.
Yeah. I mean, it's great hearing you talk about. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I do very little at home in terms of cooking and stuff. Steph is great. The she
You're a misogynist, are you?
I'm not a misogynist. Don't say that. I'm not a misogynist. No, please don't say that. No, but
That was a joke, by the way.
yeah,
Sorry.
thank you. I'm going to get complaints about this. No, but no, just being honest, just but Steph is absolutely brilliant, at doing me lovely food and stuff. Simple, steaks and hard-boiled eggs, and the other day I had like chicken livers, and like I said, pasta and the homemade meatballs and all that kind of stuff, which is it's just good food, it's just
Yep.
it's just good food. And I did do my kind of year of almost exclusively kind of carnivore stuff, which it did actually teach me quite a lot. I don't ever kind of think I like doing experiments and like trying things that are a bit different and seeing how I feel, just so I've got a point of reference, so I can talk about them from an experience point of view rather than just saying, oh, that's a load of rubbish, that doesn't work. But I've done obviously spent time doing fasting and intermittent fasting and longer fasts, and I still intermittent fast, but not mainly because it fits in well with my lifestyle. You know what I mean? Usually I'm at the gym or I'm up early, and I'm very very busy all morning till lunchtime, so I tend not to eat till lunchtime. But it's not like a hard kind of like dogmatic. Right, I mustn't eat before this time. It's just that's the way my day goes. And then by the time I relax, it's kind of lunchtime. Then I eat a really nice meal at lunchtime. But I think the going without a lot of by really prioritizing protein heavily for a whole year, it really did make me realize uh, you know how much I know now how much protein I need and how much protein is in each sort of thing and for each quantity. And I do still prioritize protein in my mind and think, right, where's the protein source here? And then I have, the fruits and the vegetables and the starches and everything around it. But I think going to that extreme and then coming back to kind of like a sensible midpoint um, is, yeah, it's good. I think it's done me good doing it. Helped
Definitely, I.
me a lot.
What you just said there as well is funny. Like how, because I suppose I do intermittent fasting, but I don't. I just eat when I need to. Not when I need to. When it's convenient.
When suits your life, yeah. When suits your schedule.
Who was I talking? I was talking to someone a while ago, and it was like they were saying what they were going to do for lunch, and I was like, "Are you hungry though?" Oh no, it was a guy I was talking to online, and he's like, "No, I'm never hungry at lunchtime." And I'm like, well, what do you eat for then?
Mm.
Well, because it's lunchtime. And it's like, well, yeah, but if you're not hungry, then you don't need to have a meal, do you? You know
Mm.
what I mean? But this is where people have, like, some people have got to, haven't they? They're like, well, no, because you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or breakfast, dinner, and tea, as
Mm.
it is in the north, the proper way. But like for me, I'm the same as you. So you know how people get like this would be interesting because this might resonate with a lot of people who work in offices and stuff like that. Is you get like the 2-3 o'clock lull, don't you, when you're knackered?
The kind of afternoon crash.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's after lunch, right?
Mm.
So, and I get that after breakfast. Like I'll be a bit lethargic for an hour or so because I've just eaten
Mm.
like a lot of food.
Mm.
But the way Dan was talking about last week was he said, like, he trains before he eats, he
Mm.
drinks coffee, trains before he eats, then he'll eat something and all that. And I'm like, do you know what? That's exactly how I do. Because if I eat first, I feel rubbish when I train later on
Mm.
because I don't tend to train in the afternoon anyway or in the evening. It's always in the morning because it gets it out the way, because I'm less likely to do it later on anyway. So it gets it all out the way. And you might say, well, and I can fit that around my lifestyle, right? But if I was working in an office or whatever, I'd just get up earlier and do it. I'd train in the morning. And I've got people online who do that, like send me messages at like 6:30 in the morning with the videos of them training, right? So that's what I do. I get up early, get stuff done, get my training in, then I eat breakfast. And then inevitably after that, that's when I take the dog for a walk. Because I've eaten then, he'll want to go out. And I'm not going to be very productive for the next 2 hours, but I can walk. I can go for a 2-hour walk because it's like I'm not going to be doing much else. And then when I get back,
I bet that 2-hour walk as well, because you can't really feel lethargic and sleepy while you're out walking in the fresh air, can you? You know what I mean? So that kind of stops you having that kind of lull where you want to.
When I get back, that's when I tend to do like answer emails and messages and any admin and all the crap that you don't want to do, that you can never be bothered to do. That's when I tend to do that, which ironically will be like 3:00 in the afternoon when everyone else is like hit a lull. That's when I hit my peak, because I eat at a different time.
So what time will you, just out of interest, what time will you typically have your first meal of the day, your breakfast, if you like?
About 11.
And then you'll go for a walk for a couple of hours, you'll come back and you'll work. So then will your next meal be your kind of dinner or tea, like will it be your kind of when Sean finishes work and stuff? Will that
be? So it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock, depending on the night. 9 o'clock on a Wednesday, because we're out for a walk at the minute. But it's later on.
So I suppose you're when we've had Brad Kearns on a couple of times, haven't we? And the book that he's got with Mark Sisson, that 2 meals a day, you're doing 2 meals a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll have the odd snack in the afternoon, but I've just had 2 sausages because they were left over from the other night.
Yeah.
and I felt, and I only had yogurt and berries and nuts and stuff this morning. So I had the sausages out the fridge, literally just before we started. I can still taste it, actually. But just because I was a little bit hungry, a little bit peckish. But I had those, and then that was it. But if I get up, because people will say as well, like, I have to have breakfast, and it's like, that's probably because you always have. Like you, some people do, and some people don't. Everyone's different. But I used to think that. But I get up at 6 most days, and I don't eat for 5 hours, and I'll train as well. But it's fine. It fits me absolutely perfectly. There was a lady out. We did a charity walk a couple of weeks ago, and it was interesting. There was a lady who was in her 70s, and she's walked a lot. I've never met her before. I'd never met her before this, but she was in her 70s, and at the end of it was a 5K walk. So it wasn't like the walks we do, which people come along and they tend to be able to cope with hills and all that sort of stuff. This lady could do that in the past, but she said she'd been having problems, and she's in her 70s, and she's having problems with her blood sugar. So she knew this hill was coming up. It was only a 5K walk. She knew this hill was coming up at the end. So before she went up the hill, she had like an oat cake and a couple of jelly babies or something like that. Or like, because she was like, I'm going to need the energy to get up the hill. And we started walking up the hill, and she just slowed right down. So I was at the back marker, so I stayed with her. And she got all dizzy, and she was like, I'm going to have to sit down. And she was really annoyed with herself, because she's like, I used to be able to do this, and now I can't. And we were just chatting away. And then she told me she'd had this stuff before she went up. And I was like, maybe what you've done is spiked your sugar levels. So as you're walking up the hill, the insulin response is kicked in and just giving you a low, because you're not that's immediate sugar. But maybe you didn't have enough to get you there. I don't know how it all works specifically, but I know this used to happen to me. Is whenever I would do that, I'd get lightheaded, and then I just end up having to eat more, and I was in that cycle. Whereas now I can go for 5-6 hours, or even if I'm out for a 10-mile walk and I get hungry, I can still keep going, because it's turning your body from an immediate sugar burner into a fat burner and all that sort of stuff, isn't it? So I just found that interesting when she said that, because I was like, she said she's had lots of tests done and all of this sort of stuff, and they can't figure out what's wrong. And I was like, maybe there isn't anything wrong. Maybe you just you could have got up. You just thought you needed the energy to get up that hill, so you had something, and then you've had a crash on the way up. Because she sat down for a couple of minutes, and then I helped her up, and she was fine after that. She took it slowly, but she wasn't lightheaded anymore. And I was like, maybe that's why. So you think there's something wrong, but there's actually nothing wrong. You're just doing that when you could have got up the hill without having any food whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just it's like little nuances like that. So you said earlier you like to test things. And that's what I like to do as well. So I'm like, right, let's see if I can do without breakfast. And it's not like I do without breakfast. I have breakfast because it's breaking the fast, isn't it? But I have it at 11 o'clock. Because if I have it any earlier, everything else in the day gets pushed back. And I'm probably going to need to eat again at some point, or think I need to eat again when I actually don't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just finding, like we've said before, it's just finding what works for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not sort of saying to anyone, you have to do this way or that way. It's just certainly for my lifestyle, the way I do things. And I'm still, like you said, I on a Saturday, I'll go to the gym, I'll be working, I'll do a 45-minute spinning class, I'll do a good sort of 7 hours work, and then I'll usually train afterwards, which involves sort of heavy strength training, and I'm able to do all of that on an empty stomach and get stronger, and then come home at 2-3 o'clock and have my first meal of the day, my lunch, which I love. I really love food. I love eating, but that work, I don't feel like I need to be. And as well, I think as a lot of the time, we've said this before, people eat because they're bored. If you're busy, like I am, and like you are, and you've got stuff to get done, and you can be drinking water, you can be drinking black coffee, and you're just cracking on. Before you know it, it's lunchtime. And then you make sure you get your calories in, and your protein in, and everything there.
Well, the amount of times you can hear people as well who are busy, and then like they'll get to a certain point and they'll go, "Bloody hell, I'm hungry. I forgot to eat." Exactly, because it's not, you don't need to eat. You just do it, like you say, for something to do, to occupy yourself.
Yeah.
When you're bored.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing. Because somebody asked me last week. We went out all the walk. I've got a bunch of walk leaders who lead stuff, and we went out we met up last week, and we were just chatting away. And one of them said, "Well, what do you do?" Because I said about people asking, well, what do you do on the day off? The day off, training and walking and all that. So I go for a walk because I've got a dog, and I go, like, that's what I do. That is my day off. That is what I do. So
you don't need a day off from walking, do you?
No, exactly. But this guy actually said, well, what do you do to relax? Meaning, like lying on the sofa in front of the TV for a couple of hours or whatever. And I was like, I go for a walk. It relaxes me. Because it's not, if I'm particularly tired, I'll just go for a walk along the canal because it's flat, rather than up one of the hills or something like that. Like, I'm going to do that this afternoon because I'm tired. I'll take him out down. There's a meadow just down the road, and it's flat. So, because I'm tired. But if I don't do that, I'll be even more tired. I'll just go and sit on the sofa because it's like that doesn't relax me.
And like you say, going to sleep, you probably go to bed quite early, don't you? And you get a good night's sleep, and you should be tired at the end of the day. That's the idea, that you're tired at the end of the day, and you go to bed and you crash out.
It was funny though, because a few weeks ago, it was a Tuesday, and he's at doggy daycare on a Tuesday, and Sean's at work and everything. I was really tired. I was like, not wiped out, because that's a thing, but like just that day, I just felt tired. I think I watched like 3 films that day. I lay on the sofa, I just like watched a film, and then I was like, oh, well, fuck it, I'll watch another one. And then by the end of the day, I didn't feel great. But I must have just needed it. I just, like when you're like trying to think like, right, I need to do this, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
So I didn't allowed myself that time, and I didn't feel great because of it. And then the next day I did lots of stuff, but I probably needed it.
But yeah, you probably more than anything as well. Maybe your mind just needed to rest. What I mean, needed to just relax and zone out a bit.
That's like once every 6 months or something. That'll do that. Because it doesn't. It just. I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't turn my mind off. I go for a walk. not to turn it off, but to get it thinking about, or get it freed up, because people talk about like where do ideas and inspiration and all that come from? It doesn't come when you're looking for them, does it?
Mm.
So I just find stuff like that fascinating, because people try to force these sorts of things or say like you need to relax. It's like, that is relaxing. If I sit and do nothing, which I did for a very, very, very long time over a number of years, and I felt like rubbish at the end, because it's not good. It's not good for me anyway. So it's, I just think like actually switching off isn't like not doing anything. Switching off is switching. It's like it's finding an alternative to something, I would say.
It's like we had when we had Pavel Matchek on a little while ago now, when he was talking about his, meditating in the morning and reading and sitting and drinking tea and all the rest of it, actually being mindful, I suppose, being mindful, being conscious, relaxing, this self-care, whatever you want to call it, but it's something that has to be done consciously, really. I think most people will need to find some way of practicing that in their life, that's not just sitting in front of the telly watching rubbish,
Watching the news.
yeah. Whether that be sitting outside in the garden, whether that be doing gardening, whatever it is, something mindful, something conscious, like a practice. And yeah, like he said when we had the podcast, for you, that is going for a walk. That is
Absolutely.
that is that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if it ever becomes not that, it'll become something else. But that's what it is. Yeah, I just because I've been the other person. That's the thing. Who's like, I just need to do nothing. And I think that's very common, and that's who I was for years. Just like go to work during the week, and then be like, do you know what? I'm bloody knackered. I'm going to do nothing this weekend, which inevitably meant having a few, like, loads of beers as well. And then all of a sudden you're waking up on Monday, like, where did the weekend go? It's Monday again. And it's like, because you've basically done sod all.
And yeah, you've not actually rested. You've probably, like you say, gone out, drank a load, eaten a load of rubbish food, really sort of stressed your body and your system.
Yep.
And not slept because you've drank out. You've been drinking alcohol. You've not slept as well as you would have done. So actually, you haven't actually recovered or rested at all because your sleep's been compromised. Yeah. Yep. So yeah.
And then that brings you back to the ring type thing, isn't it? Imagine that. You look at the app and you've got an elevated heart rate, your blood pressure's a bit high, you haven't been sleeping very well, and then you've got a stressful week ahead of you. Well, like, it's a cycle. It's just that cycle, isn't it? And it's like, so if you can calm that down and get your heart rate lower and get your blood pressure to a decent level and actually get some sleep and all that, it feeds you energy, doesn't it, for what's happening? So it's kind of like it's one of those cycles that's easy to get into but hard to get out of.
Yeah.
Totally. Because it takes time to get out of it, but people who are in those sorts of cycles have never got any time because they've never got any space to think about it. And it's literally just taking that space. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a way to live, is it? I don't think.
No, it's not. I've done it and it's horrible. I looked about 20 years older 20 years ago.
Right, brilliant. Oh, that was good. That was nice catching up and recapping the last few weeks of guests and talking about how things are. That's brilliant. So yeah, we're having a walking weekend this weekend, so that's going to be which will be fantastic. And hopefully the weather is good.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been all right. It's been, we haven't been caught in it the last couple of days, actually. It's been chucking it down and stuff, but it's always been at the right time. It's nice and sunny out there now, so
that's what we said, wasn't it, at the start? Yeah.
There's a nice muscly tattooed guy out there carrying some big pulls, big scaffolding pulls.
Was it like a Diet Coke commercial from the 90s?
Aren't I a lucky boy?
Yeah. Anyway. Right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening or watching. Please do like, share, subscribe, leave a review if you're watching or listening on a platform that allows you to do so, especially on Apple Podcasts. We will be back next week with episode 252. Until then, thank you, Mr. Peter Lance.
You're welcome.
And thank you to all of you, watchers and listeners. We will see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.